The American President Donald Trump's administration is preparing for a fresh crackdown on undocumented immigrants in the country under a proposed new policy. Now, thousands of migrants could in fact soon face fines of up to $18,000 to cover the cost of their detention and deportation. Under the proposed policy by the Department of Homeland Security, the migrants could in fact be fined nearly about $18,000 to recover the cost of arresting, detaining and deporting them. The proposed fines will mainly target aliens, as the Trump administration, or rather the American administration, calls these undocumented immigrants who missed their immigration court hearings. In absentia, court had passed orders to deport the said immigrants. Reports now suggest that more than 23,000 people could be impacted by this move. The Congress had ordered the DHS last year to charge fines aimed at encouraging undocumented immigrants to voluntarily leave the country. But the DHS is now proposing to raise the amount from $5,130 to $18,000. The proposed increase comes after the U.S. government had raised concerns over growing deportation and detention expenses. However, according to a recent report by USA Today, immigrant advocacy groups have slammed this move, accusing the Trump administration of targeting vulnerable communities and creating fear amongst the immigrants. The reports also state that critics have reservation that many immigrants miss court hearings due to language barriers and lack of legal support or failure to receive notices on time. The proposal has now been published in the Federal Register, with public comments invited until the 22nd of June. If implemented, the new fines will mark one of the toughest immigration enforcement measures under the Trump administration's renewed crackdown on illegal immigration. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got WION's correspondent Susan Tehrani, who's joining us live from New York. Susan, it appears that the focus is again back on immigrants. Tell us what's happening on that front.
Yeah, so undocumented immigration is a euphemism for people who entered the country illegally. These are illegal individuals who already have a deportation order from the courts. And while some of them go into hiding, others have self-deported. But the Trump administration now is trying to find an incentive because, as you mentioned earlier, the incentive was that if you self-deport, I think you get something around $1,000 to leave the country, and then you have the opportunity to come back. But now, if you have gone to court and there is a deportation order against you and you fail to leave, they're trying to make it more costly for those individuals. So they're saying that, you're going to not only be fined and charged, but then it'll make it very difficult, almost impossible for you to be able to come back to the United States legally. The justification they're making is that if we put the fines on these individuals, which there's no guarantee that, first of all, this is a proposal that it's going to happen. There's also no guarantee that these people would be able to even pay these fines. I mean, a lot of them are from very vulnerable communities coming to the United States hoping for a better life, albeit illegally. But they say if we impose these restrictions and possibly get the fines, then they can bring the charges and fines down for ICE and immigration that is already spending so much money trying to deport these individuals. So, the argument is both sides.
Right.
Rights groups say that these are vulnerable communities, they may not be able to do it. But then the Trump administration says, well, somehow we have to get illegal immigration, people that already have a court order, out of the country. So that's where we stand right now. Let's see if this proposal goes through, though.
Indeed, we'll have to wait and watch for that. Thank you very much, Susan Tehrani, for joining us with those updates then.